little demi-turret at the top. Inside, they hold the Sevastopol bell, which was captured at the Battle of Sevastopol between the British and the Russians back in Queen Victoria's reign, and that is held there. And it only rings at the death of a sovereign, and it's been held in that place ever since, and it was one of the things that was captured at the battle and brought in. The music carrying on, and we can enjoy it.
£50 of monthly savings into a Help to Save account.
The hour, the Queen waiting for what will be an official greeting of the US President. Cristiano Amanpour is with me now, and I have to say, with the greatest of respect, Donald Trump is not a great timekeeper, is he? One hopes he doesn't keep the Queen waiting too long.
No, I'm a little troubled, I have to say, for Her Majesty, but maybe this is normal procedure, I don't know, but one generally doesn't see the Queen waiting around.
No, in fact, if you saw when you were talking over the pictures there, she looked at her watch twice, wondering what was taking place with all the pageantry, and so far the President not showing up for the visit.
It is remarkable looking, isn't it? It's just fantastic. You've got, as you said, the Coldstream Guards. It couldn't be more pomp and pageantry. That is really traditional English, British, ceremonial. It is, I don't know whether to say a far cry, but it is less than a state visit, which is what the President wanted, the whole carriage and all the rest of it.
Sorry, Christian, what he has had, though, is a trip to Sandhurst's military academy. He had a gala dinner thrown in his honour last night at Blenheim Palace. He talked at a press conference today about just how much he'd enjoyed that, the history of Blenheim Palace, what he learned at Sandhurst earlier on today. I mean, this is a US President who likes a military guard, who likes a parade, clearly likes the salutes.
His mother was born here, so it was an emotional touch that he had at the same time. But just think of what we've gone through in the last 24 hours due to the interview in The Sun, right? And where we are today as he's waiting to meet with Her Majesty. He threw a few verbal grenades here that rocked the UK, rocked the Prime Minister. Then he sat on the podium with her, or stood at the podium and said, it's the highest level of a special relationship. So this is the clumsy art of trying to walk back a little bit for Donald Trump after that interview and then trying to stabilize relations today.
There are no obligatory codes of behaviour when meeting the Queen. No obligatory codes, because you're looking at me, Christian, someone with a look of surprise. But there are traditional forms that most people follow. For men, this is a neck bow. For women, it's a small curtsy. Other people do prefer simply to shake hands, no bow. The correct formal address, of course, is Your Majesty first, subsequently ma'am, which rhymes with jam rather than ma'am. I think that was something, certainly when I met the Queen, I learned for the first time, and it was something we were told royal protocol dictates. So, you know, and it's this, as we were saying, it's this sort of pomp and pageantry that the US President is surely going to enjoy. And Cristiano, as the US Ambassador to the UK, pointed out earlier on today, he said in his own words that the highlight of any president's visit to the UK is an audience with Her Majesty, who has now been waiting for, I would say, a good 5 or 6 minutes, which is slightly unusual. I mean, I have to say, with I've got the schedule here, and Marine One is supposed to arrive at Windsor Castle at around the top of the hour or sometime before that. Perhaps they've been given the nod that there was an early arrival anticipated. Clearly not now.
It's interesting because the Queen obviously has been on the throne for so long now, more than 60 years, isn't it? Yeah, 66 years. And she's met with every single US president, we're told, except for Lyndon Johnson.
Correct.
And she has been sort of, you know, this figure that has really transcended the decades, the different political parties in the United States, you know, the immediate post-war era, which is when she came and was crowned in 1952, which is just as Britain and Europe were emerging from the ashes of World War II. and she has seen this incredible, from her particular vantage point, she's obviously not a politician, she's a constitutional monarch, she doesn't have a public role to play in modern politics, but she does have a massive role to play in the diplomacy that goes with nurturing Britain's most important relationships. And not only that, with Commonwealth relationships. She's been all over the world in that capacity. She's met just about anybody who is anybody around the world. And
She's
if
seen
not,
them
it's just not
all.
worth it.
I think in this context, it would be fair to say of all the presidents that you singled out, both Becky and Christiane, this is probably the least predictable president she's ever had to deal with at a very critical window in UK history, with relations with the European Union to exit in 2019 and trying to maintain this transatlantic partnership that Donald Trump is talking about with Theresa May at the podium at the press conference.
And this is a monarch who knows just how critical other relationships will be, not least those of the Commonwealth, for example, as and when this country exits the EU, however it does that. We know, as well as we await the arrival of the US President, the Queen has...
Charles II. So, you know, there's so much tradition and history wrapped up in these emblematic moments that reflect what it is that the United Kingdom can lay on as a nation. You know, none of this is Disneyland. None of this is that kind of story, because it's all rooted in the history of this country, and there is nothing but fact at the heart of every element of what you see laid on by the Queen for the President of the United States today. Into the quadrangle from the George IV gateway, the President of the United States. He will be received by Her Majesty the Queen, and then there will be the United States national anthem, after which Her Majesty will invite the President to inspect the Coldstream Guards.
5 o'clock, you are watching Sky News and live images of the President of the United States arriving at Windsor Castle to be met by Her Majesty the Queen. Commentating for us, Alistair Bruce, of course.
So passing round and under the state entrance to Windsor Castle. Past St George's Hall, the great round tower behind the car as it now passes the equerry's door, and finally to the dais where Her Majesty is waiting. that salute to the President of the National Anthem of the United States, the Queen will now invite the President to inspect the Guard of Honour.
First,